We're excited to continue our Spotlight series for Napier-Looby, and today we have the honor of highlighting David Fletcher, who's an active member of Napier-Looby and who also serves as a board member at large. David, thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with us. We truly appreciate all that you do for Napier-Looby, and we're excited to highlight you during this series. So we'll go ahead and get started. I want you to talk about what you do for Napier-Looby, but also outside of Napier-Looby, the ways that you contribute to the community. So without further ado, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Again, my name is David Fletcher. I'm Assistant Federal Public Defender here in Nashville. I've been in Nashville for 8 years, and I've been working at the Federal Public Defender's Office for 8 years, where I handle criminal cases from start to finish for people charged with federal crimes.
So you said you work at the Federal Public Defender's Office and you represent people charged with different crimes. So just tell us, what's the work or the purpose that really drives you? In other words, when you think about your personal mission, what motivates you to show up in your career and in your community?
I guess first off, how I grew up in a single parent home. And I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, where it was an urban area. And so a lot of the people that I get to work with, I kind of live some of that life, not necessarily the criminal side, but kind of the socioeconomic sides of growing up like that. So a lot of my clients, I can relate to them in that way. Seeing how the prison industrial complex in this country affects so many people of color, particularly Black men. That's really kind of the purpose that drives me to get up every single day, work with these folks, and there's not really a day that I don't like coming to work and like doing what I do, but that's pretty much the purpose behind it.
That's really beautiful. So we know about the work that you do with the Federal Public Defender's Office and the work that you do for Napier-Looby, obviously. But tell us a little bit more about the community work that you do outside of Napier-Looby and then outside of your job.
So first, I'm a big for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I've been a big for the last 3 years, where essentially weekly I'll go over to Lead High School, meet with my little, and we meet for an hour, talk about a lot of different things. They're usually in 11th grade, 12th grade, and so I'll be there big until they graduate. I also do a lot of community service through my fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma. Usually my part is in the education realm of reading to students for what we call Fatherhood Fridays, where we do a lot for an adopted school, that Hayes Middle School in North Nashville. And generally every time, aside from Napier-Looby, does a lot of community service. I do service anytime I have the opportunity to do service in the community, which usually is linked to something to do with education.
It's obviously that you're very busy and involved in the community, and Napier-Looby is just one of those things. So tell us a little bit about how did you first get involved in Napier-Looby and what has kept you engaged?
I wasn't truly involved when I first moved to Nashville in Napier-Looby. I think I became involved for the first time in Napier-Looby my 3rd year here. And then I was involved for about 2 years, but to be honest, I really didn't do as much. When my friend Cynthia moved here, not just became president, but she moved, she was extremely, extremely active. That encouraged me to get more active in Napier-Looby. And as she kind of went up in the ranks, it kind of made me want to do more with Napier-Looby. And so for the last three years, I've really been completely involved in that way.
Well, I'm happy that you are active, and I did ask him to come and get on the board, y'all. So, but anyway, you know we're in Black History Month. Black history means a lot to a lot of different people. So how has Black history shaped your why and influenced the way you move through the legal profession or your advocacy work?
So Black history, the older that I get, means more to me than it did younger, and not just because I understand things better, but really right now we're at a time where there's a very open attack on Black history, and I think that it's important to recognize and preserve that history, because I would not be here were it not for so many people before me, knowing what Napier-Looby is, how it got started, And that's just an example of Napier-Looby, knowing how they got started. And much like the other bars across the country, the black bars started because we couldn't join the major bars in the states and the city. And so through the legal realm, I think it's super important, but just in general, I think it's super important. We're getting back, I feel like, to a point in this country where people are not taking, I don't want to say not taking it as seriously as they should, but they're questioning why Black history matters. And so for me, that why is shown, how Black people built this country, and how important Black attorneys are, Black professionals in general. And so I think that now more than ever is a time that we should really, really be showcasing the importance of Black history.
I agree. It's very important. So was there ever a moment or a lesson or even a person who really stuck with you along the way and that helped shape you to be who you are today?
I wouldn't say particularly there was a moment. I think that there were just many moments to get me to where I am today. I think that as much as I think social media can be negative. I think that social media, when we started to see as a people the brutality of police on Black men, Black women, it's always been happening, but social media allowed us to see it. Seeing so much of that definitely shaped me becoming a public defender, but also just shaped me being an advocate for Black people, for people of color, because like I said, it's been happening, but we're seeing it happen way more often now because of social media. Those kind of moments really kind of drive a passion and a fire in me to make change however I can.
I think that's very true. Social media can be negative, but it also can bring a lot of awareness to a lot of different situations. And we can see back in history the ways that we can learn more about how in history Black people have always paved the way. Black people have always been subject to pretty much terrorism in this country. So just thinking about whether it's somebody in the past or the present, is there a Black person that if you could sit down with and have a conversation or have dinner with them, is there anybody in particular who's standing out and why?
I would say two people. And two people I've actually met in person but never had the opportunity to sit down. One is former President Barack Obama, and the other is John Lewis, who he spoke at not our law school graduation, but unfortunately he spoke at the graduation after our law school graduation. John Lewis, obviously, because he everything he did community-based, it seemed like it had a purpose behind it. And I think that's hugely important going into doing whatever you're doing in the community, especially if you're an activist, to have some kind of purpose behind what you're doing. And then Barack Obama, obviously, for being the first African-American president, and what was that like? And to just, he's always just maintained his composure through so many, instances where I don't think he actually needed to maintain his composure. What that was like, and honestly what it's like today, because a lot of the things that he went through probably before president, as president, is probably still going through today. So I'd love to sit and have dinner, talk to them. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Definitely. President Obama, he definitely went through uncharted territory, so I'm sure he has a wealth of knowledge and wisdom that comes from that. And of course, John Lewis, whose portrait is right up the street from ours, he's a good reminder to get in good trouble, and that's what we try to do with Napier-Looby, get in good trouble. So we talked all about work and your community service. What's something that's not on your resume that people don't know about David? Tell us a little bit about David. David, outside of the advocate, the federal public defender, like, are there any hobbies that you have?
Yes, I like to play tennis, but my almost 40-year-old body doesn't allow me to do it as much. I like to travel a lot. I love time with people. I'm a big people person. And I like to explore. Like, when I travel, there's a big part of me liking to travel is exploring the areas that I'm in. even in Nashville, I like to explore the city, be outside, hike, things of that nature. I wouldn't call myself a super outdoor boy, but I do like being outdoors.
Those are all cool hobbies. So looking ahead, what does continuing the legacy of Black excellence and service look like for you?
Me personally, is giving back. And when I say giving back, not necessarily monetarily, but giving back to, I do think it's important for me to make things easier for the Black folks behind me to come. I'm really big on trying to get more Black lawyers into the field. And whether that's them working in corporate law, them working in the government, them working in education, higher education, is really important for me to give back, because so many people before me made it possible for me to get to where I am today, in so many ways that I don't even know that they did. I want to encourage young Black people, and I do mean young Black people, not just people of color, but young Black people. I want to encourage them to reach their highest potential, to be open to doing different things. And so I think that myself, as a community in Napier-Looby, that's really a really important thing for me, is to give back in that way, to make things that might not seem possible for some kids seem possible.
Well, we look forward to all the great things that you do. As I stated earlier, we truly appreciate you taking time to sit down and speak with us, and we really appreciate the work that you do for Napier-Looby, and we look forward to continuing this year and doing great work. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.